Hello, it is your girl, Miss Kimmy. So, okay, this was requested. Baby, I hope you're watching this, okay? Because you put your foot on my neck about this one. But Jamie Foxx. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm not reading any cards. I'm looking at pictures of him, and I'm also looking at his birth chart. So, just off first glance, looking at him, the word, what is it? Identity crisis stands out. And it's also like I'm feeling a vibe of constant rejection or constantly trying to avoid rejection. And, you know, a lot of comedians are like that, right? They learn how to be funny because they were bullied as kids. So they learned that I have to be a bigger bully than you. Okay. And it's not that he's messing with people who's, you know, just innocent. Like, you know, he targets people who were targeting him first. And he tries not to he tries not to be the bully, okay, because he knows how it feels to be bullied. But the rejection is something that's so deep seated within him that it's like it's never going to go away. And it starts with something about being rejected by his own people. It's always your own people. Even though it may be other people saying things to him, but he's not really looking at that. It's the fact that it came from you. You're the one who did this to me. Even though, starting with his mother, right? Because he was adopted into a white family. And, you know, I had a friend who was also black, but adopted into a white family. And I could just tell that she had a void because she didn't really know where she came from. The way that she did things, she would kind of get offended when people would be like, oh, that's white people stuff. And it's like, well, what you want me to say? You know, because I was raised by white people. OK, that's kind of like him. Like, you know, he feels like the people who he resonates the most with, especially romantically, would be a white woman. And you could see it in who he dates. And it's not going to change unless he were to find a black woman who was also adopted into a white family. But it's like, okay, that's like finding a needle in a haystack. So the next best thing is a white woman. And the fact that the words next best thing just came out shows that, like, he's desperately wanted to be accepted by black people, especially like if he could get a black woman who could resonate with his soul, that would be a dream for him. But he kind of gave up on that idea because it's so hard to find. And it feels like he doesn't really know how to keep people happy other than by performing for them. You know, showing up in a way that is pleasant for them. Like, it's all about trying to keep other people's feelings at bay because he doesn't want to feel that rejection again. He doesn't, you know, that childhood trauma of, I must have been too much for my family, my mom to take care of. So let me not be too much. Let me be hyper independent. Let me make sure I take care of myself so that my adopted parents don't send me back, you know? And it's like, that wasn't even going to happen, but he lives with those fears anyway. So he's very hyper vigilant, always looking for, you know, changes in people's moods, their facial expressions. You know, let me make sure that I didn't say the wrong thing to them. And it seems like in his career, that's where he can just be who he wants to be without even caring if he's hurting anybody, because it's fun, you know? And it just, like, I don't want to say not care if he's hurting anybody, but like, okay, I don't know if y'all saw, like, it was some years back where he pretty much ended somebody's career by roasting him. And that guy, you could see in the video, like, he looked visibly uncomfortable because Jamie was roasting the crap out of him and everybody was laughing. And it's like every time the dude tried to clap back, it was corny. Nobody cared. When Jamie clapped back, everybody was freaking dying. Like, so it's like he's really, really good at this. He's very talented, y'all. Like, he can sing. I think he can dance too. He acts. He's a comedian. So it's like, he doesn't usually act like that with people. It's just the fact that this is a comedy event and we came here to be comedians. So here I am. He didn't realize that he was ending someone's career. And it's also like, well, that's your business. Okay. Step your game up. Okay. Because he went into defense mode, you know, like, again, it takes you back to that being a child and people roasting you, telling you, oh, that's for white people, or why do you talk white, or, you know, stuff like that. So he learned how to clap back. Okay, why do I talk white? Okay, why are your shoes talking? You know? But when it comes to those interpersonal relationships, it doesn't feel like he's very close to people. Like he doesn't have those emotional, I don't know, I want to say hardwiring, I guess. Like he's not hardwired to be emotional because he had to have a certain level of detachment as a child, so that because I don't know, it's just this feeling of they could reject me at any time now. They could send me back. Oh boy, he doesn't like to be broken up with in relationships. He can get very clingy. But it's out of fear. Like it's fear-based clinging, and not I'm clinging to you because I love you. You're the best person I ever met. It's more like, please don't leave me because I have abandonment issues. And it's also, like I said, he doesn't really know how to not entertain. He knows how to entertain people. He doesn't really know how to keep them interested in him other than by being entertaining. So it's like what he likes in a woman is, you know, somebody who is just solid. Like you're not going to leave. Even though I may be a wild card, okay, even though I may have an explosive temper, or, you know, whatever it is, whatever flaws that he has, which it doesn't even feel like his flaws are really that bad, but he perceives himself as a lot to deal with because, again, he's been feeling like that since he was a kid. I must have been too much to deal with. Oh, you couldn't take care of me, so you gave me away. Right. And now he shows up in his relationships like that. Like, I don't ever want to be too much for somebody. And maybe he gave up on the idea of not being too much to the point where now he just finds somebody who will put up with him. OK, I'm not changing. So I might as well find someone who either likes me or I can control them with my money. OK, they're not going to leave because I pay all their bills. And I know that's like the word control sounds sinister until you really put it into perspective. Like a lot of people are controlling and not even knowing it. Like your parents who want the best for you. Yeah, they might seem a little controlling, but in their eyes, they're keeping you out of trouble. They're making sure that you grow to be happy, healthy adult. Because some people don't even make it to adulthood because they do stupid stuff in their teenage years. And now you got to go to their funeral. You got to see them in jail. So it's like that, where he's controlling in a way that feels like it benefits both of us. OK, you stick around and don't leave me and I will pay your bills. And look, you get to be happy. I get to be happy. It's a win-win. Like he really likes to be fair. He really likes to, because again, he might know these things about himself. Like I know that I'm a wild card. I know that I have to travel a lot for work. I know that I have an over-the-top personality that not everybody can handle. I know that I don't know the first thing about being a typical Black person because I didn't have the typical Black experience. I know that I'm weird. I know that I'm into quirky things that, you know, I have weird hobbies or maybe even weird fetishes. OK, and I know that I'm a lot to deal with. So look, what is it that you want? Let me make this fair for us. And are you sure, like putting it all out there, like, here's all the things about me. Can you handle this? If so, I will fund your whole lifestyle. You ain't got to worry about nothing, okay? Have a baby by me, baby, be a millionaire, okay? Yeah, that's the vibe that he's getting. But make no mistake about it. He does want someone who he can control because he needs that sense of security. And yeah, in return, he's able to give people what they need. I'm trying to see if I'm getting any vibes of like, I don't know. I just really feel like he is gonna get to a point where he just wants to spend time with his family. I see him being a grandfather, and I know he has two daughters, I think, and one looks like she's an adult, and one is like a teenager or something. And that's what I'm looking at. Let me make sure I scroll a little bit because yeah, he has a picture with two daughters, but it's like he's gonna be a grandpa, and he's gonna really embrace that role. because it's like it's his chance to do things right this time. And you know, a lot of parents are like that. I don't know if y'all have any kids in your family, right? But it's like you see your parents acting so different with your kids or your nephews and nieces. And it's like, now, where was this when I was a kid? Even me with my dad, I have siblings. I have two little sisters who are 18 and 17 years younger than me. So and my dad had me at 24. So it's like, I see you being like a cute grandpa-like person to my younger siblings, but where was all that when it was me? Like, oh, you was thuggish and ruggish back then. So it's like that, where he's done a lot in his career. He's established he's a household name. And now he's like, yeah, I want to do things the right way. So he's going to be like a super very active grandpa, like Floyd Mayweather, right? We see how Floyd is with his grandson with what's her name? Yaya and NBA Youngboy, right? They have a baby together, and every time you see that baby, he is just all over his grandpa because he loves grandpa. Grandpa teaches him how to box. Okay, I don't know if y'all saw them videos, but that boy, he got hands, and he's just like a toddler. But yeah, that's like Jamie making sure that he's like, basically he's the father that stepped up. Like, okay, yeah, this is your kid, but nah, he's my grandson, or this is my granddaughter. Like, I wasn't around to raise my kids because I was traveling, I was on the road, I was working, I was making the money, paying the bills. But now that I'm established in my career, I got everything I need. Now it's like, you know, I can actually raise a baby. And that's where he's going to shine, because he has a lot of plans for it. And I keep thinking grandson, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I can predict whether a baby's going to be a boy or a girl, because it's a 50-50 chance anyway. I could say it's a girl and be right because, well, what else was it going to be, a boy? Like, it's 50-50 chance. So I don't really do the predicting genders and stuff, but very involved with his grandchildren. I'm also hearing philanthropist and author. Like, he might end up either writing something about his, like an autobiography. And if it's not an autobiography, it might be like a what's it called? A biopic. I never really knew how to pronounce that word, but basically a movie about his own life or based on his own life. He might try to make it more creative, because you know how like Sinners by Ryan Coogler, it had a lot of historically accurate nuggets in it, but it was still a vampire movie. So it's something like that, where he might have some historically accurate nuggets in the movie, but he wants it to be entertaining. So it's like there's going to be something that's like sci-fi-esque about it. Something like that. And philanthropist is like, yeah, he has an eye for the underdog, has a heart for the underdog too. So it's like I'm seeing like mentor groups or something like that, where he donates to a certain type of charity that's very, very specific, because he feels like, this is that stuff that made me, maybe donating to a foster home or having fostering children, stuff like that, where he basically daddy daycare, because he wants to create. Okay. I don't want to say this because it doesn't feel like it's an accurate thing, but my mind is leaning toward cult leader. Okay, let me explain. I'm not saying that he's actually going to be a cult leader, right? But think about, what is a cult? A cult is a group of people who come together for a similar purpose. Okay, churches, that's a group of people who come together for a common purpose. Sororities, fraternities, your workplace, y'all all working toward the same goal, right? So it's something like that, where if he has foster children, it might be for the purpose of like, I want to take these people out of the slums and make them into, actors, actresses, musicians. And, I have the resources, I have the money, I have the name, I can really take like stuff like that, because he wants to feel like he's saving someone's life. He has a savior complex. Okay. Oh gosh, a savior complex, but he means well. Okay, it's not like R. Kelly or freaking Drake, but that's another story. But it's like he means well and he wants to help. That's his way of helping humanity. Everybody has their way, right? Some people go vegan, or some people hug trees, stuff like that. And for him, it's, I want to save individual lives. Because I could try to save the world, but that's a lost cause. I want to save individual lives. And I'm going to put you on. I'm going to ice you out, I'm going to put you in front of these people, these opportunities. I'm going to pay for your training because I want to see you succeed. You remind me of myself. So let me see if I'm getting anything else off of him. I think that's it. I don't know if I answered the question, but that's what I got. All right. Let me know if you enjoyed this reading, and never forget that you can change your life if you can change your mind. Love you. Bye.